Hey, how's it going there, YouTube? Michael with Dark Cloud Vapors. Just want to get on here because I want to answer some questions. I know that when I'm in the bolt forums and stuff like that, I see a lot of questions. So I just kind of want to get on here, having my car through the last 2 months, going on 3 months. I kind of started off in the cold weather, so I kind of got to know what it's like to be cold and what it goes down when it goes back up. It's still winter time, so I'm still going to get more into it, but we recently just had a really cold storm where we went down to negative 12 degrees, I believe it was. So I kind of have experience with it getting real cold and what the mileage looks like. But that's when I get on here and kind of inform people of it, because a lot of people still are asking. And I know when I first got this car, I just thought, what's wrong with my car? Because originally when I got it, I assumed when it's like, you get 260 miles. You get worse range when you get in the wintertime. So in my head, I still pictured that they call the guessometer. When it said the 260 or something, that when I was driving, it was just going to use it faster. I assumed that no matter what, every time I charged it, 260, 260, 260, it was just keep showing that number, and just the rate of how fast it went down would change. But that's not true. That's why it's called a guessometer. There's your first thing. Get used to the guessometer. The number on the side is not an accurate number. It is based off of conditions of the road, conditions outside. It's got to do with how you drive. If you're going up hills, down hills, is it cold? Are you using your heat? Are you using your AC? There's lots of things that change that. The most important one that I've noticed from when I do it is the heat affects it greatly. If you use your heat, it significantly changes your mileage. I haven't used the AC yet, so I haven't had to use that, so I'll find out about that this summer, because it'll be my first summer and fall with it. The heated seats. If you can get used to the heated seats and the heated steering wheel, and you can avoid your heat, you're going to save lots of miles. I do know that. Back onto the guessometer. So when I first got my car, I was charging around 255, 262 area, and then it started to get colder, and I started to notice my battery was like at 220. I'm like, what's going on? What the heck? So I took it off the 90% and I put it back up to 100%, and it said like 220. I'm like, what? Next day I get in, it's like 217. What? Then it's like 210. Wait a minute. So then I get on the bolt forum and I start asking these same questions like I was just telling you about. And in doing that, I kind of got informed with other people in the forums. A few will get mad at you because they're like, well, you should have done your research before you got your car. And well, you know, not everyone does that much research, but it is true. You should have probably figured it out before you did it. But at the end of the day, your miles, you're gonna have enough miles. So when it came down to it, and we had the winter storm, and it got ice cold and went down to like negative 12, I'm just gonna let you know that I got a 2022 Bolt EUV Premier, and at a 100% state of charge, I was only getting about 185 miles on my guessometer. And I can probably turn my camera around and show you now. I'm getting 248 miles on it, and it's 47 degrees. It was a little bit closer to 55 this morning, and it was in the 50s yesterday. So that's just to show you the difference of what I'm talking about. Is like right now it's in the upper 40s, mid 50s, and I'm going to see around 248 on my battery. When it gets below the 40s and goes into the 30s, expect to be around the 200 to 220 area on it. And once you get like 20 or below, that's when you're going to start to be around 200 to 180 area. And I've heard people say even worse, where you'll see at least possibly up to like 40 to 50% loss in mileage. But it's not that bad. I've noticed that like when I see that range, I'm like, oh God. But like I said, if you drive efficiently and you use your regen brake, you're going to go higher towards, you're going to trend higher towards the max number on there instead of that guessometer number in the center. If you don't use your heat, that number is going to be higher as well. But if you use your heat, then you're going to suck some battery out of it. I've not had a problem. I've drove 4 hours straight, even when it was 10 degrees outside. And even though my mileage, I'm like, oh God, I still got home and I still had over a quarter of a battery left. So it might seem like you're going to have a problem, but in the end, you're not. Most people ain't going to do that unless you're taking a long road trip. Let's see, what else can I talk about with this? The winter time. Oh, and I don't know about a lot of you, but the humming noise is a very annoying thing that this thing has. I don't know if a lot of you are informed of it, but when you're driving and it gets like, I'd say 40 degrees or lower, and you start to drive around 40 miles an hour, you start to hear a humming and a vibration sound, and it sounds like almost like a wheel bearing or something going bad. It's just a loud buzzing sound from the front of your car. That's actually a problem with this car right now, that there is like a loose piece of foam up inside the bumper. And in the winter time when you're driving, there's little flaps that open up as you're driving, and those flaps are letting in air and they're hitting that piece of foam, and that foam is basically vibrating in there, and at high speeds you can feel and hear that sound. So don't be worried, there's no problem with your car. You just need to take it into a GM dealer and let them know about that sound. Unfortunately, just because they do have a bulletin out for it so that it can be repaired, but when I went to GM, they wanted me to schedule an appointment. They want to drive the car and make sure that the problem's happening before they fix it, even though I had a recording and everything. So with that being said, if you're going to take it into a dealership for the problem to be looked at and to get solved, make sure you take it in on a cold day, or else they're going to go out with it and they're not going to hear the noise. Like I said, I think the temperature has to be around like the upper 30s. I think it has to be a little bit lower than 40. But like when it's over 40 degrees, I don't hear the noise anymore. It doesn't happen. I mean, I can't say good enough things about this car. I absolutely love this car. This is the best car I've ever owned. I'm glad I jumped into it and made this choice. Going from gas to electric is a no-brainer. Once you do it, you're gonna be like, why'd I never do this? I'll never go back to gas again. I'll never go back to an ICE car. The difference in this, I was paying upwards of $500 to $550 a month in gas. I'm an Amazon driver, so I drive a hell of a lot. And once I got this car, I'm paying like 60 to 80 bucks total for the electric bill. Is all I'm paying for my electric, so it's all profit from work now. And I basically just traded my fuel costs for this car. So I didn't save on fuel, technically, but who wouldn't want to give up going to a gas station to get a brand new electric car? That to me is a great trade-off. So, yeah, go electric. Once you do it, you're gonna be like, that's where it's at. That's why all these dealerships are hopping into it right now, because it's only going to advance and get better from here. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was just me kind of getting on and just blibberty blabbing, because I'm sitting here waiting on my wife right now. So thought I'd talk about the car a little bit, a few little questions. I'll make more videos and try to do more. If you guys got any more questions, go ahead and throw them down in the comments. That way I can answer them. If you have any questions about the EUV that you want to know about, any features or anything like that, I'd like to do that too. I'll talk about that. I make custom parts. like this. Got a little 3D printed tray that goes in the center console. I got a winter cover. I got a flap that goes over the whole top. I got all kinds of stuff I'm making for this. And if anybody has any ideas or things that they want made for their boat, let me know. I'm always down to create new stuff. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this. See you on the next one. And by the way, when you wake up in the morning, use your remote, use your phone, start your car. Make sure your car is running when it's cold outside, and make sure it's running while it's plugged in the house. And you won't use any battery, and your car will be nice and warm when you get inside of it. You'll thank me for that later.